Welcome to episode 15 of the Take Two podcast, where we are the living manifestation of destiny, and we have made you our mission. I'm Kenny.
I'm Sam.
And today on the pod, we are talking about the Mission Impossible stunts. Let's go.
All right, we are so excited to be talking about the Mission Impossible stunts today. At the end of the day, no offense to Mission Impossible, it is such a lovable series, but all the movies are so similar in their plots. It is Tom Cruise, aka Ethan Hunt, probably one of the coolest names in action films up there, not that far behind James Bond. It's the American, like version of James Bond, and it is going to be so much fun talking about the stunts. We're going to tier the stunts from the movie say. We're going to hit probably about 12 to 14 of the stunts, including some from the new movie. So it's going to be super, super fun. Kenny, are you excited?
Sam, I'm not going to take any of this Mission Impossible slander on the pod. Mission Impossible is the action franchise of our lifetime. Yes, even more than Fast and Furious. Yes, even more than Marvel movies. These movies are truly about bringing action to life. Tom Cruise says it all the time that he is there to make the most authentic movie-going experience possible. We love Tom Cruise. We love how much he loves popcorn. Sometimes we don't love his hair quite as much.
Whoa. Talk about slander.
Listen,
what hair are you talking about? If you're talking about Mission Impossible 2 hair, I am not going to be happy. That's the best hair in the series.
Mission Impossible 2 hair is rough. I would argue
the
his
best
hair in the last movie wasn't. Listen, no, he has a Cruise cut, right? It's like sharp, military. It looks really good, really clean. And then he kind of like will have this weird afterthought mullet in some of these movies.
He doesn't want people to think it's just Top Gun with more secret missions. He has to make a distinction, so he does something weird with the hair.
Yeah, well, he could
you know
made,
what?
He could have made other decisions there.
Screw the stunts. We're just gonna tier his haircuts from all the movies.
All right, very bottom. Mission Impossible 2. Second to bottom.
No.
Mission Impossible Final Reckoning.
Best hair is Mission Impossible 2. Also, worst movie is Mission Impossible 2.
Yeah, maybe they're inversely correlated. I think that might be true. But let's kind of focus back. So,
okay, sorry.
Dear listener, you might be thinking to yourself, great, these guys are just going to do another ranked list of the Mission Impossible movies like every other movie podcaster out there. But no, today we're bringing you something unique. We're bringing you something different. We're not ranking the Mission Impossible movies. We're ranking their stunts. That's what we're here to do today. We are going to have a tiered list, our standard tiered list of going S to F tier. And we are going to go through, according to Sam's best friend, Grok, there have been 24 stunts that Tom Cruise has performed with various assistance of CGI in the Mission Impossible franchise. But Sam, what is your history, if you will, with these stunts? Have you grown up with these stunts? Have they recently entered your life? I know that Mission Impossible kind of had a resurgence post-COVID. What's your story with
That's when I got in on Mission Impossible. I always wanted to watch it, never got around to it. I was fell asleep at the drive-in to Mission Impossible 2 when I was a kid. I had no clue what was going on. I was way too young for it. But yeah, about a year and a half ago, I watched all of them for the first time, which was really fun. Like I said, all the plots really blend in together, but you're not really there for a super memorable plot. You're there for the action. You're there for the mask being peeled off at certain moments in the movies. You're there for the love. You're there for the friendship. I really enjoy them. It's the stunts that you remember too. I'm like, I don't know why they were doing this stunt, but I just remember it was cool. So that's how I really like the Mission Impossible movies. I just like they're not like James Bond, Daniel Craig for me, where I can like distinctly remember every film and like what's going on and the ramifications of everything.
Right, right. Yeah. I did grow up with the Mission Impossible movies, but I think I had a similar situation to you to where my dad is a huge James Bond guy. So we grew up watching, I've seen every single James Bond movie, even going back to the Sean Connerys. And I grew up with those movies, and then I kind of grew up with the Mission Impossible movies as kind of just like this side piece part of my life. I've had a similar experience to you to where every single time it seems like I've watched the Mission Impossible movies, I have watched them in like back to back to back fashion. So I'll be like, wait, which one is Fallout? Which one is Dead Reckoning? Like, it's easy to kind of get them confused, but the main reason why we keep coming back to Mission Impossible is A, what a fun jaunt. These movies, for the most part, are very fun, but also Tom Cruise's charisma. Many people have said that Tom Cruise is our last movie star.
Yeah.
He's like the last standing person of, hey, you want to know? Like, he's the last person who many people would say, I would just go see a movie with Tom Cruise in it. You know, we can make an argument for Timothy Chalamet or your favorite person Zendaya, but at the end of the day, I think a lot of that is just the titles and the directors that they're attaching themselves to, and like the quality of the overall team that they assign themselves with. No one is necessarily going to go see a movie just because they're in it. People will go and see a movie just because Tom Cruise is in it. Everyone thought that Top Gun Maverick was going to bomb, and it was the one of the biggest movies of that year, if not the biggest movie of the year. And
I freaking love
I
that
think that's
movie.
just incredible. And we want to just thank Tom Cruise for his contributions to cinema.
Listen, if
Tom
I had a
Cruise, come
couch,
on the
I would get
pod.
up on it right now. I would jump up and down on the couch and I would say, I love Tom Cruise. I'm in love with Tom Cruise,
Yeah.
but I don't have a couch.
Yeah. I would laugh intensely. I would do everything intensely. I would, yeah, we love Tom Cruise. So Tom Cruise, come on the pod.
Yeah,
But
come on.
should we jump in?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go chronologically.
Okay.
And
The first,
do you got this? You want to be our formatter here?
I'll be our formatter.
Okay.
All right.
Nerd.
Number one, 1996, Mission Impossible. We are introduced to Ethan Hunt for the first time. This is the year before I was born, and we have 3 stunts in this movie. The first one is the aquarium explosion. This is the one where Tom Cruise slaps some like gum up against the thing and it explodes. Turns out that's real. He was actually running away from thousands upon thousands of gallons of water and shards of glass. What would you give it?
Yeah, so I just watched this movie 2 days ago. You know, that stunts like D tier. Like
Yeah, agreed.
D tier. Okay, we can move on from that one. D tier, fish
Cool.
tank, D tier.
Okay. The highlight for me of this movie is this stunt, the CIA vault heist. What are you
Yes.
giving it?
This is S tier for me.
Absolutely.
I know, like I know it might not be like as physically insane as some of the other ones, or as like outdoorsy, or like I don't know. And when I think of all the Mission Impossible movies, and I just watched all of them, I think of some major stunts, but this particular stunt is the culmination of the entire Mission Impossible series for me. And it's one of the coolest heists. Like, I just watched Ocean's 11 last week, and it's like, okay, maybe it's not as intricate as the Ocean's 11 heist, but it has similar vibes. It's right there. The color is beautiful. It's so memorable. It's S tier for me. It's my favorite stunt.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Mission Impossible is one of my favorite just Mission Impossible movies, period. I think a lot of people like lose track of it post 4 because everyone really seems to be on the bandwagon post 4. Mission Impossible is great. This movie also, this scene is just Brian De Palma in his bag. Like everything is askew and everyone is sweating. It is so intense. It just carries that paranoia that first movie has really, really well. And just like the sweat coming down off of his glasses right before he falls and he catches it. And then they're pulling him up after the rat was in the duct, and then they drop the knife and the knife just lands right as the CIA agent in Langley walks back in, and all he sees, all that's left after him stealing the knock list, is this knife. It's an incredible. I 100% agree. This is an S tier stunt. Even though, like, yes, it may not be the most physically crazy thing that Tom Cruise has ever done.
There's
It
some cool stuff in
is.
it. There's some cool stuff. But
It's very cool.
that before we move on to Mission Impossible 2, I imagine I will unabashedly say that the first Mission Impossible is actually my favorite Mission Impossible movie. And I know it might not look as like trendy or have as high a film working as like the new ones, but it is so classic, and I love every second of it beginning to end. It's like the perfect like Americanized James Bond. It's the one I like. John Voight is awesome in it. It's just I love it. So before I won't talk too much about the other movies, but like I was talking to Evan, who's been on the podcast, you know, he's never even seen a Mission Impossible movie, so take his man card away. But I'm like, I don't know someone who could watch the first Mission Impossible and not enjoy it. So like,
Yeah,
there
yeah.
you go.
It's definitely the movie that I feel like out of all of them captures the nature of the espionage of that world the best.
Definitely.
But,
Okay, go
all
ahead,
right,
Kenny.
keeping on going. 2000s Mission Impossible 2, Sam's favorite hair movie. There's really only one stunt to talk about in this movie, and it's the free climb. It's the Utah free climb. The very beginning of the movie, we see Tom Cruise zoom in classic John Woo fashion. You know, like everything is very bullet time in this movie, and this is no exception. Where he's listening to like whatever freaking ABBA while he's climbing this rock and arches or something.
This movie's such a mess.
What would you? Where are you putting this stunt?
You know, I'm gonna put it as a C. It is cool that he's like rock climbing, and it's cool visually, and it's the thing. It's probably the picturesque thing everyone remembers from this movie. It's like the opening, and it is very cool. It's just like, dude,
that'd be the only thing people remember from this movie.
Besides like the bike jousting at the end, which is the funniest thing I've ever seen. Yeah, so I'm gonna give it C tier. It's all right, but it doesn't like there's not a lot of danger imposing on him outside of him just free climbing a wall. So C tier. I mean, I could do
it. I mean, I'm gonna give it B tier. There is a scene where there's a part of it where he jumps, like he kind of dinos from one ledge to the other and kind of catches himself. The like film editing there doesn't do him any favors because there's so many cuts in that scene that it's kind of confusing. You can tell whenever, like in the later movies, you can tell whenever Tom Cruise is actually doing it because the camera doesn't cut. They're like, we are rolling because we have one shot. We have one shot to do this, and we're not going to get rid of any of this footage, and we're just going to show it to prove to you. Like the entire vibe of these movies kind of like changes every time there's a stunt because it's just like all these stationary cameras, and they have to catch every single moment while Tom Cruise just like fulfills his death wish, basically.
That's a great point, honestly, because like I do remember that scene, the rock climb scene, and there being so many cuts, and that was definitely the style at that time of filmmaking too. And so yeah, I think that's a really good point. See, like these movies just became about the stunts, right? Every time a Mission Impossible movie comes out, whatever stunt Tom Cruise is doing, it like goes viral like 6 months earlier, and it's all
definitely what the marketing is about. I think that some of the other, like the later movies, some of them have a little bit more of an elevated quality, but it's always what the marketing is about.
100%.
Yeah. All right. We don't need to. I mean, do you want to spend any more time on Mission
Impossible? Get me out
of
Mission Impossible 2. If to everyone out there too, if you haven't watched the Mission Impossible movies, 1 is so great, 2 is so bad, but it's one of the only series out there where the second movie is terrible and could have tanked the entire series, but after 2, 3 is really good, and they just keep getting better like from there. So if you're annoyed by 2, watch it anyways, just for the lulz, and stick with it. That's all I'll say.
I would argue that 2 kind of crosses, you know, there's a line in a movie like for bad movies, right? Where it's just like there's a line that a bad movie can cross where it can become fun again, where you're just like enjoying like the slow motion where they're driving the motorcycles at each other and they jump and tackle each other. It's ridiculous and funny, and it's still a great time even though it's a bad movie.
Yes.
But all right. 2006's Mission Impossible 3. Something else that I'm kind of realizing, Sam, as I'm reading off these dates, is Tom Cruise has been doing this for so long. He's been doing this for 29 years. He's been playing Ethan Hunt for 29 years doing these things. What a run. What a guy. All right. Mission Impossible 3. I think there's really only one stunt here to talk about. It's the Shanghai Leap of Faith. It's the skyscraper swing.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna give it C tier. I think that it's very cool and it's definitely a highlight of the movie, but I get the sense that there's like a lot more rigging than he has in the later movies. I don't feel like it kind of holds up as much as the other ones do.
I agree. C tier for me. Before I move on from Mission Impossible 3, I will say by far this Mission Impossible best villain as Philip Seymour Hoffman. He is far and away the most memorable. R.I.P. Rest in peace, Philip Seymour Hoffman. You can watch all these movies. He's the most memorable. He's the most intimidating. He's the only villain besides maybe the villain in Mission Impossible 1, no spoilers, is so memorable. So he's the highlight, and I agree, C tier.
Yeah. I agree that he is an all-time villain, and it is true that Philip Seymour Hoffman makes every single movie he's in. He is the highlight of every single movie that he was in his entire career. I'm gonna be honest, Mission Impossible 3 is still good, but it just doesn't do it for me. I know a lot of people really like it. This is actually pretty low on my list in terms of
It's all about the villain in Mission Impossible 3. He carries the movie. If Philip Seymour Hoffman is not in that movie, this entire franchise is potentially over because his screen presence and because he carries it so well. There's a great bridge scene with him, but we'll move on. It's worth watching just for his villainousness.
Agreed. 2011 Ghost Protocol. That's the stunt. It's Burj Khalifa. What are you giving it?
Burj Khalifa is gonna be S tier for me. Super freaking awesome. I don't even know. Like Tom Cruise actually climbed the Burj Khalifa over 2,700 feet using suction gloves. Like, okay, he has a safety harness, but oh my gosh, like I'm afraid of heights. Like, are you freaking kidding me? 2,700 feet, and he's climbing the world's tallest building with suction cups. It's
right.
I can't think of another actor that's done something like that. It's S tier. It's too freaking cool. Like, dude, what happens if your little vest fails or your stupid suction cups fail? I put suction cups on the wall for my baby every day, and they fall off every 10 minutes. And you're climbing 2,700 feet. S tier.
Yeah. This movie, this is the first stunt coming back where it makes you sweat again. Like the Langley heist definitely makes you sweat just because it's like, oh my gosh, this is so tense. This, I'll nerd out a little bit on you. The height that Tom Cruise is at, the Burj Khalifa, it is extremely windy up there. That is true. Like wind gusts of like 80 to 90 miles an hour is not uncommon around really tall skyscrapers. That's very normal. The other thing that people don't realize is that skyscrapers sway in the wind on purpose. They're not intended to be rigid, they do sway. So while Tom Cruise is climbing this thing, he's on like the 120th floor or whatever. He's, 2,800 feet up in the air. The building is literally swaying while he is trying to climb glass. It's insane. It's S tier. I can't talk enough about this stunt. It is ingrained in my mind. I like cry every single time he finally makes it back into the because you can finally breathe again when his glove fails, it falls. Also, Benji's like comedic relief is so perfectly timed and so well needed just after the intensity there. But this is just this is an all-time movie scene.
I don't
period. Like if you were to make a montage of
Kenny,
like a 5-minute montage of the most impactful scenes in movie history, this scene is on it.
That is a big statement, but I like it. I don't want to sound like an idiot here. Is this because they all blend so much to me? Is this the film, the impossible stunt, not the Burj Khalifa, but when they are imitating uh like a negotiation, one level on top of another.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I agree with you then, because that whole thing with the Burj Khalifa and I can't even explain it. It's kind of complicated, but it's one of the most memorable whole scenes for me. It's probably like 30 minutes, like really like beginning to end as far as like all of it goes, like the setup and everything. But that whole scene, I was just on the edge of my seat and it was incredible. So, all right.
Yeah.
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 S tier.
This movie is directed by Star Wars villain J.J. Abrams. So this is kind of a redemptive moment for him. But yeah, that entire that's something these movies are really good at too. And we can move on from Ghost Protocol after this, other than the fact that it's a really good movie. It's arguably I think that it's better than one. I think this is like the first movie that tops one. These movies are really good at having really long action sequences that like will grip you, will put you on the edge of your seat. But
Yeah.
all right. Rogue Nation, 2015's Rogue Nation. Opening scene, the plane hang. Tom Cruise is hanging on the outside of a carrier plane as it takes off. What are you giving it?
All right. So this is like, you can find this stunt everywhere. I feel like this stunt always gets posted somewhere. I'm going to give this one A tier. I think it is really freaking cool. Like, at the end of the day, he's strapped in and he's gripping onto a plane. And, you know, you see it in film, people kind of doing that sometimes, but they're always like green screened or whatever. Like, if you watch this scene, it's actually pretty insane. Very similar to, very similar to the Burj Khalifa in a sense of like height, where you're like, you can't even believe, because it starts on the ground and you're like, okay, there he goes, there you go. Oh, wow, okay, we're like 1,000 feet in the air in a few seconds, and that's insanely intense. So it's really, really fun to watch. I think it's less dynamic than a lot of the other stunts, where it's kind of just like, all right, Tom Cruise, hold on to the airplane. And it's cool, but it's very famous too. So it's A tier for me.
Yeah. I agree that it's crazy that he did it. I think that in terms of its place in the movie, it actually knocks it down a tier. For me, I would say this stunt is B tier. Not for Tom Cruise's effort, but because the movie just opens up in such a way to where it's like, hey, here's a stunt, and like another thing these movies are really good at is like framing how insane what he's about to do is.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like builds the anticipation. You don't get any of that here. It's just kind of like, wait, he's hanging off the side of the plane. Yes, that's insane, but the storytelling that goes along with it is subpar. And in my opinion, it's also not the best stunt in this movie. In my opinion, the best stunt in the movie.
Wait, before you go on.
Go ahead.
My only, I will disagree as far as I like, of all the films, I feel like it was cool seeing one of the major stunts thrown in right away as like a hook into this movie, even though it doesn't build the anticipation, like you said, that the other films do. I like how this one started out though, where like Benji can't get the computer to work or something like that. And at the end of the day, there's so much of the Mission Impossible movies and espionage movies as we move into the future are kind of like, these old school agents are being replaced by computers and AI and technology, and it's not the same. We don't need them anymore. And I thought that opening scene where like Benji's computers, diagnostics, internet failing, and him just being like, Tom Cruise being like, F it, I gotta go old school and just jump on the plane. I liked it. I thought it was cool. So that I was in for the start of that movie. But go on to the next time.
Right. The next stunt is the underwater dive. Tom Cruise is tasked with replacing a profile within this water-cooled submerged computer data center where he has to jump in and he has to hold his breath for like legitimately 6 minutes or so. Like he has to hold his breath for a ridiculously long time while he's like spinning around. This This is an incredible sequence. The whole thing is really tense. This movie, it is another scene with him and Benji, and Benji's kind of like going through trying to like unlock all of these different stages in order to get to the point where he's actually getting the list for all of these movies are about like opening a door or grabbing an orb. So it gets kind of it does get confusing on exactly why they're doing certain
Yeah,
things if you do
100%.
watch these movies back to back to back.
Kenny saying, "Oh, I won't take any Mission Impossible slander."
It's
Here
not,
we are.
it's
This is
not
what
slander.
happens. This is what happens halfway through the Mission Impossible movies. You're like, now, what were they after again? It was a code. It was a list. It was a protocol. It was an AI thing. It was what was going on? Yeah, welcome to Mission Impossible. Here's the point. Everything's so effing cool that it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what the curmudgeon or the thingamajig is that they're after. We don't care.
Curmudgeon, they're just after some cranky dude.
Yes, they're after a cranky guy who's trying to poison the world so they can profit in the stock market. Like that's like half the films.
Right. Or like some dude who has like an apocalyptic manifesto. Or
yes,
it is true, but like, I mean, we can't pick on Mission Impossible too much for being like MacGuffin heavy, because that's like most like you can be really cynical about it and be like that's most movies. But
I'm not being cynical. I'm here for it. I think they know too. They like spend like maybe 5 minutes just like telling the audience the exposition throughout the movie. And which is one of the reasons that Austin Powers makes fun of it. They literally, in Austin Powers, the guy's name that Austin Powers always talks to is Basil Exposition, and he comes on the TV and he just tells you what's going on, and he's basically like, yeah, wait, what? Like, and he's making fun of Tom Cruise and the Mission Impossible movies, because that's what happens in Mission Impossible. Someone comes on, he's like, Ethan, your mission, should you choose to accept it, oh, that should have been our opening line, should you choose to accept it, is blah 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 blah, and we just tune it out. We're like, okay, let's get going. So sorry. All right,
but that one, I would say that one's A tier.
Oh, okay. Interesting. You want my opinion on this one?
Yeah.
Well, you're going to get it, whether you like it or not. The underwater vault dive to me is S+, and it is my favorite stunt in the entire Mission Impossible series. We watched these movies back to back to back to back, and the stunts are great. Of all the stunts, I was holding myself. I was sweating. I was holding my breath for 6 minutes watching this stunt. It is the most probably underrated stunt. I can't even believe it. Tom Cruise learned to hold his breath for 6 minutes to perform this stunt. And it is, to me, the most tense of all the stunts, because it has an element of being death-defying, right? So like the first Mission Impossible, even though that stunt to me is S tier and it encapsulates the vibe of the whole series, his life isn't necessarily on the line, right? He's just like a few inches from the floor. His life is on the line, and not only that, but it's with drowning, but like being whipped around like as he's drowning. And it's just, of all the scenes of all the movies, this is the one I think of the most. Even he drops in the split second he has into this tube. I just think it's the coolest stunt and most underrated. So S+ for me, favorite stunt.
Wow.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. And I can't talk enough about this stunt.
Yeah, you make a good point to where like there is a sense where even though this like all of the stunts are very like high octane, this one in a sense is building tension more than just being like heart racing, because he's like, okay, you have to like try to be as chill as possible because you don't want to use up all of this oxygen. He's trying to be like super calm while he's doing all of this stuff, and like everything is going wrong. He's getting the cards mixed up. He even fails at the end, right? Ilsa Faust, Rebecca Ferguson's character, ends up having to like dive in and save him, and like that, I would like the scene of him like convulsing as he's literally, well, not literally, maybe literally drowning. he's like literally drowning, and he rescues her. You're like, oh gosh, like then you kind of realize it's more subdued. So I also
think of all the stunts too, that it is the besides maybe the first Mission Impossible stunt, the vault break-in, I think it's the most unique stunt. And I think that's why it's the most memorable for me. A lot of these other stunts are like, okay, I'm hanging onto an airplane. We've seen a lot of people do that in movies. Okay, I'm jumping off a cliff on a motorcycle or a car and I'm gonna jump. I've seen a lot of that in movies. Like, it's super sick that he's doing it, but
Right.
I've never seen anything like this in a movie before. Anything relatively close. So that's plus for me. I don't want to spend any more time on it, but I love it.
Yeah. No, really good. Also, I have been like, as in my most recent watch through, I've really been debating whether or not Rogue Nation is actually my favorite Mission Impossible movie. I think that it's a really good movie. I think that the villain in it, like the syndicate and the leader of the syndicate, is really is really powerful, and seeing how like you can actually see the villain through Ilsa Faust, Rebecca Ferguson's character. So I really like that movie. It may end up being my favorite Mission Impossible movie. Next movie, 2018's Mission Impossible Fallout. This seems like the internet's consensus favorite Mission Impossible movie. There are several stunts in this movie. The first is the Halo jump. Tom Cruise performs this Halo jump. Henry Cavill, our Superman, was too much of a coward to jump out of the plane at 25,000 feet.
What a loser.
Come on the pod.
What a loser.
Stand for your crimes, Henry Cavill. How are the kids, how are the youth of America supposed to look up to you as Superman if you're not even willing to jump out of a plane, like in the stratosphere?
I would physically destroy him in hand-to-hand combat. What's so funny?
You would destroy 6'5", 225 pounds of probably 98% muscle. Henry Cavill is built like an outside linebacker, dude.
That is very true.
He would destroy.
We'll see. Won't jump out of a plane, so I'm more of a man than he is. Actually,
I wouldn't do this.
I'm really afraid of heights, actually. So I will say, before we I'll keep this quick. This is a great movie with probably one of the best epic endings in all the movies. I love Henry Cavill and I hate him in this movie. I think his acting is terrible. I think his mustache is terrible. I just think he doesn't play his character very well, which really sucks because I really love him. I think like the 2 seasons they did of The Witcher, 2.5, whatever, he's so freaking awesome. Like I could rewatch those seasons over and over again just for him. I think he is just freaking awesome. But man, this movie, he was not good. I'm gonna say it.
Yeah, I really liked him in this movie. We'll get to one of these stunts later, but the next one that I want to talk about is the helicopter chase. End of the movie.
Wait, you didn't rate, you didn't hear the
Halo jump.
What are you giving the Halo jump? He's just like skydiving basically.
Yeah, it's B tier. I think it's going to be B tier. Not that it's not impressive. It looks incredible. But it's really hard to give these when these movies start having multiple stunts, it's really hard to give them above an A tier when I think another stunt in the same movie is better.
Yeah.
So I feel
I'll
like
go
this
real
is B
quick.
tier for me.
It's like C tier for me. It's skydiving at night. That's about it. That's cool. All right, next.
The helicopter chase. It's the end of the movie. Tom Cruise is chasing down Henry Cavill, and Tom Cruise jumps onto a rising helicopter.
Wait, oh my gosh, you're telling me Henry Cavill was a bad guy the whole time? Oh my gosh, what a twist. Even though we knew from like the first minute because he could not deliver his lines.
That wasn't broken. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
But no, you're good. Tom Cruise climbs onto a rising helicopter and infiltrates it from the outside, but as he is attempting to do this, as the helicopter rises, the helicopter, I don't even remember what the helicopter is holding. I'm kind of blanking on it right now. It's probably an orb or a gate or something.
Yeah.
But there's a helicopter being held from a rope with this big sack on the bottom of it, and as Tom Cruise reaches up to try to infiltrate or to try to get into the helicopter, he drops down the cord onto this thing, and like you can watch the the behind the scenes of these things are almost more exciting to me than it's not true, but just like watching him actually fall whatever like 25 feet onto this sack below and then watching him reclimb the cord again is like your heart stops. You're like, oh my gosh, like Tom Cruise is like, this is it. This is the end of Tom Cruise. He's gonna like fall off of this plane
Yeah.
and plummet to his death. And he, his just by sheer grit, Ethan Hunt climbs back up the cord and he infiltrates the helicopter, and then he's flying the helicopter and he ends up dropping the sack trying to like knock out the helicopter that Henry Cavill is in, and he doesn't do it. And Tom Cruise learns to fly a helicopter for this movie after he's, like literally he's flying the helicopter, and he performs a barrel roll in a helicopter in this movie. It is insane. This stunt is S tier. I
Wait,
I couldn't
wait.
believe my eyes even after I've seen it like 2 or 3 times. It's just insane.
Wait, Henry Cavill ends up being the bad guy in this movie?
I know.
Oh my
I know.
gosh.
It's really a huge twist.
This is exterior, so not an interior shot. This is the most visually stunning exterior stunt to me.
Yeah.
I think the colors used in this, the cinematography used throughout this film, but particularly the ending of this movie, I totally agree. S tier. We're talking stunt here. Who in their right mind learns to pilot a helicopter and is like, I will fly the helicopter? And they're like, no, you're not a pilot. And he's like, no, I did Top Gun. I'll be fine. And he not only does that, but like you said, does a barrel roll? Are you freaking kidding me? I would instantly die. Like instantly die trying to do that. Like the helicopter is the sketchiest piece of flight equipment ever created. Like when you see a helicopter touching down, it's like, oh, a couple inches the wrong way and the blades can go to the ground, everyone dies. Like
Right.
S tier.
Like while a helicopter is upside down, those propellers are jetting you directly back down towards Earth.
This is S tier.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. All right. There's one more surprise stunt that we need to talk about in this movie. And this stunt for me is S plus 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 plus. And that stunt is Henry Cavill cocking his biceps in the bathroom as he's getting ready to just punch John Locke or whatever the guy's name is. It's incredible. It's a great,
Thank you, Kenny.
Just him going boom.
We're short on time, but I'm glad we got the bicep pump stunt in there.
Yeah, it's a all-time stunt. I think it counts. All right, 2023 Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. Awkward because there wasn't a Part 2. Anyway,
so weird when they do that.
Yeah, it's kind of it's strange. I think there's really only one stunt on this list to me that's worth talking about. I think that if you have another one, we can talk about it. But the main one is the cliff motorcycle jump.
Sure.
This was this stunt was quite literally the entire marketing scheme of this movie. They basically Tom Cruise motocrosses off of this ramp in Finland or something, like off of this cliff into a base jump that he then, if I remember right, lands on a train.
That is correct.
It's a good stunt.
It's good.
It is. I'm going to give this one A tier. It is incredible, like the amount of work that went into it, the amount of training he had to do for Tom Cruise has the number of parachute jumps out of his bag than like an Air Force cadet does.
Yeah.
Actually, it's pretty insane how many times the man has jumped out of a plane for any number of reasons, or in this case, off of a motorcycle. He also spent like thousands upon thousands of hours learning how to like do motocross. So really impressive.
Oh, I know. I've seen Mission Impossible too.
Yeah. That's a man. We could make a whole other video of just Tom Cruise's top riding motorcycle moments. That would be a long video.
So I'm gonna give the cliff jump. I'm gonna give it I'm gonna give it A tier, but it's on the bottom of my A tier. I'm like in between B and A for this, like B plus A minus. Visually stunning. Not, I think it's like shot really cool, but at the end of the day, is it as creative as some of the other stunts? I don't think so. It's like, hey, we're jumping off a mountain on a motorcycle, parachute onto a train. It's like, that's a Wednesday for James Bond. So it's going to be a minus tier for me. There is, you could argue, the train fight and crash at the end of this one, because they actually legitimately actually used a train to go off the edge, which in the CGI AI world is pretty rare these days, especially, which is funny considering AI is the villain of the movie and they didn't use AI for that. Like that's pretty cool. But you know, I'd give that probably like a B tier, like C tier, B tier, whatever. So it's not that memorable as like
the amazing part of that sequence isn't the stunt, it's like how the heck they filmed it.
Right, it's the set, right? Yeah, for sure. Okay, and Kenny, go on to your final spoilers here.
Go on to my final reckoning.
Yeah, your final
2025's Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Jenna and I saw this movie last week. We enjoyed it. I don't think it's going to top our list in terms of favorite Mission Impossible movies, but there are two stunts in this movie that I think that the dividing line on this movie, because it seems to be a pretty divisive one on the internet right now, other in terms of whether it's good or whether it's bad, depending on how much the set pieces and the stunts mean to you in these movies really kind of defines whether you like the movie or don't like the movie. The two stunt sequences in this movie I find pretty remarkable. The first is the Sevastopol. It is Tom Cruise using this special Navy diving suit that weighs like 125 pounds to go down to the bottom of the Bering Sea. Not actually, he doesn't actually go to the bottom of the Bering Sea, but he goes into this I don't want to spoil it, but he goes into this submarine and basically has to extract a thing. You know, he has to go get an orb,
yes,
and then he has to like escape. And he's wearing this suit in freezing conditions. He is very, very deep. I don't know how like deep in the water he actually is, but he is actually experiencing like some of the barometric I think it's called like hypoxia or something, where he's starting to experience some like nitrogen poisoning actually in his body as he's wearing this suit. And the scene ends with him having to like take off the suit in order to get through a thing as he like rises back up in these freezing cold conditions. The stunt is there's so many different pieces to it where they have this submerged kind of Inception style spinning rig where he's wearing this 125-pound suit trying to like crawl over these things and hang from different things. It's really remarkable. The thing that stands out to me the most is how it looks. I do think that this is probably for me top of B tier, to where it's not, there's a lot of parts of it that are manufactured. It's not like a one-er take of just something insane. He is still risking his life in a lot of it, but it also just looks beautiful. When you go and see the movie, I think that this scene, this 20-minute scene is just like truly amazing. I keep thinking about it probably more than any other part of the movie. And then the other scene, the scene that is the marketing campaign for this movie, is the biplane. Tom Cruise crawls onto a plane. I'm like at a loss for words about how to describe this stunt. It is shot in South Africa. It is absolutely beautiful, very similar to the helicopter scene, but there's these two biplanes flying through this gorge in South Africa, and Tom Cruise quite literally hangs. You've seen it in the trailers. He hangs upside down on this biplane. You watch him crawl around this biplane, and it's like, I don't know how because like in a lot of these movies there's always like some sort of rig. Like he's still risking his life, but there's like a rig somehow involved to kind of like at least catch him if he falls. I don't know where that rig would be. He's literally like climbing around the cables. He's hanging upside down. He's like almost falling. You can see that they're literally flying. Like his like hair is blown back. His face is kind of like you can it. I'm just rambling. I don't even know what
You
to
are.
say. I think that this might
That's all right.
be, even though this movie is not the best Mission Impossible movie, this stunt, it contends for the best stunt in the Mission Impossible series.
Wow, that's pretty
It
high praise.
it's truly incredible. I don't want to speak too much of it because I know that the commercials show a lot of it and the trailers show a lot of it, but there are parts of it to where, and again, it's almost a single take, or not truly, but it's those stationary cameras that are located on the wing, under the rigging, at the cockpit, all of these different things where there's these still shots in such a dynamic scene is gripping. It grips you in such a way where it's like, you know that he is doing this for real, and my theater was dead silent while it was happening. It literally took the breath out of the theater. It was amazing.
Wow. Well, thank you for that, Kenny. And that is our entire stunt list tiered out. And so I hope you guys, if you've seen or haven't seen Mission Impossible, it doesn't really matter. I hope you just enjoyed like talking through these stunts and giving some appreciation to Tom Cruise as, you know, the golden star that he is. And he hasn't, you know, slowly crusted into oblivion like Brad Pitt and George Clooney. He is still freaking rock on all the time. And so we love you, Tom Cruise. Come on the pod, open invitation. I'll have to check my calendar, but if things do line up, we'd love to have you.
We'd love to make room for you in our busy schedules, Tom.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say to our loyal fans? Oh, thank you. We've got some new subscribers. If you haven't sub, like, comment. We should probably be saying that at the beginning of the video. That's what everyone does, but we're just such film enthusiasts.
We trust that we're engaging enough that we brought you here to the end.
If you're here, let us know. All right, everyone. Thank you. We will see you next time.